Anybody? I hear none. We'll wait for Sarah. We just had public comments with the 0.
Sorry for my delay.
All right. The next order of business is the Planning Commission. Okay. Consider revising membership to comprise 5 board members and 2 alternates. Sure. Yes.
Sure. So we currently have 5 members of the planning commission and 1 alternate. What we're trying to do is do a reorganization that basically recognizes some of the time constraints of some of the people who are involved. And some other people have additional availability. And then within the last few weeks, we also had a new, someone expressed interest in perhaps helping us with wrapping up the town plan and moving into the, I guess, the bylaw revision phase. So if anyone wants to volunteer, that I tend to like to say yes if you can. So the thinking here was we would move Becky Arbella from, well, first of all, we would expand the alternates on the planning commission to 2. And then we would ask Becky Arbella to move from her current position as a member to become an alternate. And then Jack Conway, who's currently our alternate, would have him move to become a full board member. And then we would add Diane McCormick as an alternate. So that we would end up with five members, 2 alternates when we're done. I've discussed that with all of them. They're all amenable to it, and subject to the action of the select board.
Are there any comments, concerns, questions? So we should do this in order. So if somebody wants to make a motion to consider revising the membership to comprise 5 board members and 2 alternates.
I make a motion that the planning commission consists of 5 board members and 2 alternates.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now we have another one for consideration to appoint Jack Conway as a board member. He is currently the alternate to the planning commission.
Well, I think first we have to move.
Becky.
Down.
Okay,
So I make a motion that.
right,
we-
that was,
Right,
yep,
I make a motion that we amend the appointment of Becky Arbella from full member to alternate member on the planning commission.
Second.
any concerns, questions? All in favor? Aye.
I make a motion that we move Jack Conway from alternate member to full member of the planning commission.
Second.
Any concerns, questions? All in favor? Aye. And last, consider appointing Diane McCormick as alternate.
I make a motion that we appoint Diane McCormick as the 2nd alternate to the planning commission.
Can I just make a point of order? Diane's up there. I didn't know if there was a reason that description of this thing.
Diane, do you want to say anything? You're muted.
I'm looking forward to the opportunity to work with Patrick.
We have a second on that?
Second.
Anything else? All in favor?
Aye.
Now we're gonna move on to the highway department. We're gonna consider a new hire for the road crew.
Yes.
Yay.
Good job. Yeah.
Travis, do you want to tell us what's going on with the highway?
Yeah, right after the last board meeting, probably 3 weeks ago, I had an employee that had to resign. And I reached out to a couple of board members right away, and we decided to run the ad, and we turned up a couple of applicants, 1 non-CDL, 1 with a CDL, who currently works for another town. And I'd like to move forward with hiring this person from another town. He's currently employed with the town of Halifax, and he's a good young candidate, I think, and I think he'll seems eager to learn.
So we're gonna need his name and the rate you want to hire him at.
His name's Blake Janoski. I'd like to hire him at $22 an hour.
Anybody have any questions about it?
Doesn't see the elements.
Yes,
Sarah?
Have you received and checked out his references?
yes,
Any red flags?
no. Start date of the 25th. Our week starts on Sunday, so, yeah. If I need it.
20th of March.
That's
February.
February. It's only the 6th. I know, Joe.
All right,
I'm with you.
It's Stanley Stone.
other questions? Somebody want to make a motion?
I make a motion that we hire Blake Janowski to the highway department at a rate of $22 per hour effective February 25th, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good job.
Thank Yeah.
Okay, so the next thing is consider the ordering a new budgeted truck.
Yes, so this is the truck that we budgeted for in the 2024 year, so coming. I'd like to order the chassis if possible to. They're looking over a year to build this thing. 5 to 6 months to even get the chassis, and then. The people that install our body equipment are booking into March of next year.
Oh, my goodness.
So if
13
people,
months.
you know, I don't need anything to order the truck other than you're okay, you know, I mean, if it doesn't. If it gets shut down at town meeting or whatever, I can just. Cancel the order, or they'll keep it coming and sell it to somebody else. If you wanna do a cat and chassis from.
So you've given us some pricing.
I gave you some prices. There was a bunch of different options, because some of the dealers are offering like package deals.
Mhm.
And so in the top two, you'll see there's a Viking equipment package with an international, and then you'll see the HP Fairfield International. And they're both pretty high priced, and those are kind of a spec truck. They don't really. They're not spec to how I would build it. You know, we kind of just are getting whatever they pre-order, pre-build. I can change a few of the things, but not a lot of them. And then I got the individual pricing, which we normally do, you know, price for the equipment, price for the truck.
Mhm.
And, I got a price for. You want me to go through them all, or?
Well, it sounds like you're leaning towards getting the one you can customize.
Yeah.
So why don't we focus on that,
Okay.
and then tell us what one you want to buy,
Yep,
okay?
I'd like to order I got two prices on the cabin chassis. One was International CD for 92.5 from SG Reed, and another one was a Chevy 6500 from Colorado. Comparable spec trucks, just different name, but identical truck. And then I got a price from Viking Equipment. I did hear from HP Fairfield on a price from the equipment since I sent you this,
Mm-hmm.
and it was 92,710.
Boy, more than the truck?
Yeah, yeah, so what I'd like to go with is the Chevy 6500 for 74,777.28 from Automall. And the Viking equipment for 78,900.
And that totals,
That totals 153,677.28. And we budgeted 160 for this truck.
I looked that up earlier
Yep.
today, I'm like, I don't know if we have this
That
money.
gets us- yeah,
Enough of this,
right in.
okay,
And also by doing it this way, he's saving money than buying the package.
and getting what,
Yeah, and getting what we,
Sarah.
Was there a trade-in on the old
no
one?
trade of selling the 10-wheeler outright, remember?
Right, no, I don't remember
Yeah,
anything
that's okay.
anymore.
Well, yeah.
And they have similar warranties with the trucks,
Same warranties.
okay?
Yep. Yep.
So one
Because the
53.
drivetrain on both trucks and everything is the same, so it's.
Okay,
all-
so it's 153,677.28,
Yep,
yes.
And there's, in terms of the make of the truck, the Chevy versus the International, you don't have an issue.
no. No, they're actually, they made them. Together, you know, it's like the Chevrolet GMC thing, they're the same, but different badge on the
Mhm.
emblem, you know?
Okay. All right. So,
You wanna make a motion?
sure, make a motion that we authorize Travis to purchase the Chevrolet 6500 cabin chassis from Brattleboro Automall for a price of $74,777.28. And the Viking equipment package for $78,900 for a total of $153,677.28.
To be delivered in 2020.
To be delivered as soon as possible, which
As
is
soon as
apparently
possible, yeah.
13 months from now.
Right.
Yeah,
Probably by, not in this fiscal year.
I hope so, but it's looking like not,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. Second,
I
anybody?
did, a second.
Dan, second. Anybody have any comments? Everybody ready to vote?
Mhm.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. There you go.
Could I just notify you guys of something too?
Yeah.
While we're on the highway? I got some water in our gasoline tanks at the highway department. And they had filled up a couple of cruisers and caused some damage to some cruisers, so I just wanted to make you guys aware. It did figure out the situation, my alarms that are in the tanks,
Uh-huh.
they didn't sense the water, the float didn't float. So I had
Oh.
alarms going off, no way of knowing, not until it was too late.
So how much damage, Mike?
It's a good question. We don't know yet. We've got almost $200 in gas we spent on so far outside of that, but it's all set now.
Yeah.
5 of the 6 cruisers got gas while it was bad. They're in different states of duress, I'll call it.
Working through it. yeah.
They're kind of working it out, but at a minimum, some of them we pumped the gas out. Because they were just completely stalling out every time you started them. And they're suggesting that all of them get all of the plugs replaced. So. That's gonna add up quick probably.
Were we down cruisers when this was happening?
No, we were shuffling around and making it work.
Okay,
We made it work, we were never without, we were never not covered. Some of them, as I said, were working, some of them seem to be unaffected. There's 2 that are almost unaffected, one of them was completely stalling, that's one we pumped. Another one stalled a little bit, stopped. Plugs were replaced on that, I don't have pricing yet, so I don't have the invoices on that yet, but I'm gonna keep it. Everything that was caused by this together, just so we get an idea at some point, but. That seems to be the worst of it, hopefully changing the plug everything will work its way through, is what I'm hearing.
so how come the alarm?
What's the, why?
It's an electronic sensor that senses the water and floats a float and sets off an alarm inside my building, and that float just didn't float, didn't come up the rod, and
So do we normally get water in the tank though?
it happens. Yeah, it happens. Yeah, whether I don't know if it came in a delivery, I don't know if it came in from up above, cause our road that goes up behind the sand piles and that. The water runs down that, it rained a couple weeks ago, it's steady, so it could have come in from the top. We changed all the caps on top of the sensor and the fill pipes, and we pumped all the water out and changed that sensor. I got quite a bit into
It sounds like it.
rendering this situation too. Plus, in doing so, I found out that our pump, there are filters on our pumps, which I changed this fall, but I didn't know that there was one that once it senses water, it closes right up. So as added protection, I bought those filters so that if anything happens,
Just doesn't,
if my sensor doesn't go off, this
shuts it off.
will close it right up, and it won't let them they won't even pump the gas. So.
And was it just gas? It's not.
It's just the
diesel?
gas, yeah, nothing in the diesel.
Okay,
Yeah, and I've got so all the water's out, and I've got a fresh load of gasoline coming from my house soon.
well, that's too bad, but
Yeah.
thank you for letting us
I
know.
want to let you know, yeah.
Okay, anything else on that?
Nope.
Yeah, keep track of everything that this is gonna cost us. Next, we have discuss Westover Church snow removal. So Travis called me about this situation and so, yeah, maybe you better speak to it to begin with.
Yeah, I had no idea that we were even doing it, not really, I mean. Dave came to me and said, oh, I hadn't done the church yet, and I said, what do you mean? And he's like, oh, well, I shoveled the church. And I'm, "Oh, but." When it came to the mowing in the summer, I had got the indication that, you know, we're not doing anything that way, they didn't wanna mow, why would they wanna, you know, I just assumed, so I shouldn't have, I guess, but. I said, well, if they don't wanna mow, they probably don't wanna pay you to shovel and salt steps too, so, no, just don't do it, and then Dave got approached, and I got approached, and then. You know, here we are, and then you know, we put it on the agenda, cause I'd like to know whether, if you guys wanna keep doing it, we'll do it, if not, then we won't.
Well,
My name is Marlene McLean and I'm from the Dover Church. I'm the chairman of the board of trustees. This is Sarah Bourne, who's our treasurer. And I have a statement, I have a thing that I would like to read, if that's possible.
is it lengthy?
No, well, no.
1 page?
Oh, and it's even written, because
Okay.
I'm not really good with the
Perfect,
computer, thank you
perfect.
very much.
We have people who say that and then they bring up a 6-page.
No,
that takes quite a while.
this might clarify the situation a tad.
Okay.
So Merrill Mandel. Well, I decided to start there. Anyway, I have here, who knows? Merrill Mandel, a church participant since 1978. State that this reciprocal agreement for lawn care and snow removal has been in place before his involvement and has remained in place. So, just we, the church, do understand that in 2024, it may be considered prudent by the town to sever this joint property mowing, snow removal agreement. We get it. However, due to the long history of the agreement, which seems to be an equitable one, with the church providing lawn care as well as spring and fall cleanup for the whole church town property. That has been the history. The church paid for the mowing of the whole property. And spring and fall cleanup, historically. And the town provided snow removal and salt and sand in the winter care for the whole fire lane, which they would anyway, because the fire lane is something that you take care of.
Right.
Okay. Where am I? As well as the common handicap access ramp. That the snow removal of the church and the front steps and upper part of the handicap ramp, the church handicap ramp, should remain included. It has always been included, and there was this reciprocal thing in that the church provided the lawn care. And then the town was doing the fire lane anyway. And they shoveled the steps. And the part that, the handicap ramp that goes up to the church, there are railings that begin, and that's the part that wasn't getting done. So I did approach quickly, last fall, I spoke with Travis, I went to see Travis, because all of a sudden, the mowing was getting done by Dave. And that has never been how it was done before. So I went to Travis and he was unaware, I mean, he's not 100 years old, he doesn't remember. So anyway. So he said he would bring it to you folks, to the town, And it ended up being that we provided the lawn care last year. When I went to, since the advent of snow and ice, I went back to Travis and he said, I don't know, he would bring it to you again to talk about it. And so we have not had the snow removal, we've been doing it. So there's the situation.
Okay. Well, it's obvious that not many people knew what would happen, what the situation was. I mean,
Exactly.
I wasn't aware, Travis wasn't aware. Dave wasn't aware, he was just told that's what you do, I assume, but,
Well,
so right now, so who is doing the lawn that is between these two buildings
the church
and has always been doing it?
has always been doing it. I mean, I don't know, Bobby Holland was around.
Yeah, we've never.
Exactly, so they've never mowed. Bobby,
This piece here, that's.
yeah,
Never, Vicky always done.
and Mickey, Kirsten, I heard, whatever his name is, across the street was the guy that did it forever. And then he stopped, so we hired a new person, and there was this business when I was last trapped.
Yep.
So.
So,
again,
and the property line, from what I see, is pretty close to this building. It's
Very.
almost on, it's within a couple of feet.
Correct. I have
Yes,
some-
Sarah.
In the diagram that you sent, Andy, isn't it, it looks like a portion of this building is actually across the property line, is
Yeah,
that
so I-
accurate or just how it grew?
I think that's a mistake on the tax map. I think the property line is actually probably even with the back of the vault portion that sticks out towards the church. And the tax map is just a little inaccurate,
Okay.
but it's pretty darn close. The mowing was not just of the space between the two buildings, but also out in front of our building.
Out this way.
Yeah, we did the
Out
whole,
towards the parking
And
lot.
that's
Mickey
between
would
us.
move our picnic table and we had it out there and mow that. He would mow the backside of the parking area, but. Towards it.
Okay. One of the things that concerned me was. We've been doing this, that's fine, but it can't be a number one priority, because if it's, I don't know if we want to have Dave called out on a Sunday and pay him 3 hours to do that. That, you know what I mean, so that you guys can use the church, which you need to do. But yes,
so I don't think we'd expect him to do anything on a Sunday.
Okay.
But when there's snow to be removed. And he's removing it from the steps of the town office, then he would remove it from our handicap ramp and the front. I don't think yet, and if it's a Sunday and there's a huge snowstorm and he's not working. I'm sure we can handle, we'll do it, we probably would cancel church, it was a massive snowstorm, that was a Sunday. But it's never been, I don't think it would be an issue or an expectation. On a Sunday, it's just when there's a snowstorm and he's here doing his normal snow removal, that would be included.
what, has anybody looked into liability and insurance on this? Like, do we have a waiver, do we have a proof of insurance for Mickey? And what happens if Dave falls down out there and it's not on our property?
One of the commissioners wants that.
Workers' comp.
Well, that's not our property.
But would workers' comp cover if he was doing town work off town land?
It's got liability covered.
Yeah.
Do we need?
You don't want that.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
Yes,
That's true.
you know.
But don't we have easements for the trail?
Yes, Rich.
So, before you had a maintenance person, I don't know if Bobby remembers, but, Ray Overton was hired by the town to shovel the walks. Because the church always did the mowing, and like you said, I mean, it's the other side of the parking lot. And then when they did the addition here, they added on to the vault and it was, cooperation, and then when the church did their foundation. And this building got raised up, they had to fix this walk here. So the town, I think, paid to have both walks done. They remember me breaking rocks and stuff over there too. And it was always a cooperative effort. And I was really surprised when I saw this on the agenda, because I'm like, gosh, people, it's part of the, remember that there are a lot of new people.
and it always seemed to work. We actually shoveled for a while. Our company was hired to shovel the walks, and we used to do the church, and that was one of the issues is we couldn't always be there, and it was always a very, we only did it a couple of years, and then they hired Rex, and then, you know, as a maintenance person, and Ian Gallup, and it was always, that was their job to shovel that, and it was always kind of, because a lot of people question that. And I can remember Phil sitting up there saying, yeah, it's a cooperative effort, they mow, we shovel, it all works out. And it's been that way, you know, I don't know, probably before you,
Well, I remember.
yeah.
Yes, Sarah.
So, I mean, personally, I'm not asking any questions about insurance because I'm looking for a way to say no. I just want to make sure we address that and cover it. So that if there, 40 years ago, people weren't nearly as litigious, things weren't nearly as, you know, that kind of thing wasn't brought up the way it is now. So I'm only asking about insurance because I want to make sure we address it so that it's covered, not that that's a reason not to do it.
Andy.
Not to complicate your lives further, but when you
Why
look
not?
at the maps, the tax maps,
That's what I'm looking at right now.
you'll notice that the walkway between the two buildings is mostly on the church's land. But it is also the access for our handicap ramp. So somehow we have a responsibility to keep that handicap ramp clean, but all that involves the church's property because of the way the property.
Right.
Just so you, I just wanted to remind you.
Joe.
Can I just go, so who now is cutting the grass? Are they, is the same person cutting the whole place
Yes,
that you guys are paying?
yes, we're paying, yes.
Okay. So
He
you're
does
paying, so you're
upfront.
doing, so Dave isn't, or Dave is doing the front of the town. So Dave isn't
We're-
cutting any of that.
We are doing to the
Okay.
road.
Okay. So
to
you're
the
cutting,
sidewalk and
so
then-
you're doing the same thing that Mickey used to do,
Yes,
correct? Okay.
we are.
So,
I think what would have been really helpful is if this basically gentleman's agreement had been somehow noted and recorded, or at least all the people sitting here have no idea how this all really came together and how it all happened. We're trying to speculate, we're trying to figure out what we can find. Andy did a bunch of work trying to find things out. We didn't know. And I agree that we need to just be careful about the insurance and, you know, if we're hiring a company to mow, they probably have insurance. If you're hiring them, and obviously we have it, and so I'd really like to get this kind of.
Formalized.
Yes, and it doesn't have to be.
Formalize it.
Formalized.
Yes, that's, but if we go forward so that other boards and other members of the church and
Absolutely.
other town clerks and other, you know.
Nobody has to
we
have a
don't-
memory.
Yes, and it's something that is, it's been going on for a really long time.
Right.
Yeah.
Who
they
does-
also, they also use our, we share the parking lot.
Right, mhm,
So
right.
it's a
Well, yes.
partnership, so it makes sense if we're plowing the parking lot that we take care of all the walkways as opposed to having two other entities back and forth. So I agree with Vicky that we should do some sort of formalized thing. There's no issue with Dave still doing it or anything. You just wanna resolve that we are all
I just,
on the same page.
it's
Okay.
not that I don't
Yeah,
think we
yeah,
should
yeah,
do that, I just wanna
Trying to
know.
figure it out, okay.
If so, then we will continue on, if not, then so be it.
Dan,
However,
Members of the church use the historical society parking lot.
we never went through one. I think that if the church wasn't right here, there would be no agreement. Obviously, we don't do the Eastover Baptist Church.
no.
You know, but there's no reason because we're not a co-op, you know,
We
we're
don't
not
benefit.
sharing.
A municipal structure doesn't benefit from doing.
But
these.
we are sharing,
It does benefit.
you know, you need the parking lot. We need the access. So if we can get something formalized that we can sign off on. I think that we can go forward and have it and look into insurance, see if your person you're hiring has insurance. And we'll go forward. I would be amenable to doing that.
Completely. I totally would be.
You want to submit something? How do we want to deal with this, Jeanette? Sarah?
I think we can start from the documents Andy created. Because that, I don't know if we want to necessarily include a lot of history in it, but we can, you know, it's like going forward, as has been done in the past.
It's,
The
and
church will take care of summer maintenance, which is mowing and cleanup. The town will take care of winter maintenance, which is plowing, sanding and shoveling.
and that. That cannot be our Dave's #1 priority, though. He will do it as he does his regular route and does it, because that we have to prioritize some other things over it potentially. Particularly if it's a snowstorm on a Sunday, there's other things that we have to do. So it needs to be at the discretion of the town, because obviously when you mow the lawn, you're not gonna mow it on a pouring, and when it's pouring out, you're gonna pick a day that you can mow the lawn and do it, have somebody do a good job, right? So we need to make sure that we have some leeway on when it gets done, like time of day and day of the week if it's on a weekend, so.
I feel, and I know the church feels, it's very important to have a cooperative, good relationship, because we're close. And we always have had, and we certainly don't want any controversy, bad
We
stuff.
appreciate it. We've had so much trouble with our plumbing in this building. You guys let us use the bathrooms. I mean, that's really important, really.
It's
So
very
we
important.
understand completely. It's just, we have to have a little parameters too, and as you guys do. And
Absolutely.
so let's work to get something together that we can all sign off on.
Do you want us to take that responsibility, or do you want to do that?
What do you think? Should we?
Jeanette's like,
What? You guys can take that.
The two of us can work together and put something together, yes?
We'll have a meeting.
We can put it in the
He
vault.
loves meetings, so more meetings is better, yeah.
Record it in the vault, Andy.
And I'll get you great cookies.
So you-
Go up, huh?
Okay.
Town clerk in 40 years can pull out.
And it doesn't have, and it's basically as a written gentleman's agreement. It doesn't, I don't think we have to go through a whole lot of legalese on this, just try to make something that somebody, if they're looking for something in the future, can understand what happened here. Yeah.
I mean, it was a nightmare for me. I don't know anything in this business. I know, and
Neither did we. Things you learn, you know?
yes.
All right, well,
Okay.
great.
Thank you.
Everybody happy?
Jeanette
Thank you.
will
Work
come up with a cooperative
and, yeah.
document, and the town, the select board will review it.
At the next.
And the
meeting.
trustees can sign on it and the.
Right, at the
select-
meeting after it's complete.
They may not be in 2 weeks, they may be, but
Whenever.
as it is, we will continue. We will continue.
Thank you very, very much.
You're welcome. And we see, we all know more now, right?
Right, exactly.
These little niche things that you just don't even think about, but thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your work on it, Andy, as well.
Yeah, Andy, thank you very much.
Okay, great. Now we're gonna move on to the fire truck.
No,
I know, the fire department. We're gonna consider hiring a new admin assistant for the fire department.
I didn't go anywhere and steal anybody like when some of them counterparts. But we have, we have 2 applicants and, Candace and, Candace, Jeanette and Sarah did the interviews. No, you didn't get one?
It was just Candace.
Just Candace and Sarah got involved and, interviewed the 2 candidates, and they had one that they liked over the other, but because we're so far behind, just midget. And, it was almost a coin toss. And so we, are gonna ask to hire both of them for temporary, to kind of get caught up, because I still need to get the fire alarms up to speed, and there's just a lot of stuff that has been falling behind. Dan and, Zach Bensikowski and Mike Aldridge and a bunch of them have really put a lion's effort into getting, I think, all the past reports that had not been done into the system, but we still, like I say, still got a lot of the fire alarms. And we're also learning the new computer system because they changed our system last year, and everybody knows how much I love technology, you know, I've been about the most helpful person in the world by staying away. So the two people are Eric St. Dennis. Let's
Yes,
get that one.
Eric St. Dennis is who we're recommending as the permanent hire,
Right, and we would like to hire him at the rate of
18.
an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second person is,
Kyla,
can't pronounce her last name, I always mess it up.
you don't have the,
No,
Plath, Plath.
what is it? Plath?
It's like Sylvia Plath, the author.
Oh,
PLAT.
nobody has it. And we'd also like to hire her at the same rate, in between the two of them, we really haven't had a lot of hours spent in, you know, this current budget. So again, there's a lot of things I want to get caught up on, so for the next few months, we would use her probably a few to 10 hours a month. And then Eric, we were looking at, you know, up to 10 to 15 hours a month. Get us caught up, and then we can really get a feel, when we're not into, you know, catch up mode, but we're just, you know, staying the course. So I would ask that you allow me to hire those two people as admin for the fire department.
Joe,
Why are you asking me? I mean, I don't understand why we're hiring two admins. So that's
Okay.
my hardest thing.
Okay, so we're not.
So-
hold on, Sarah was
So,
gonna
to
respond.
explain it a little bit.
I just
better.
wanna, cause I was part of the hiring
Yeah.
process. What's gonna end up happening is we're not actually gonna be spending any more money. Because the hours that are worked by one person are hours that won't be worked by the other person. So the total number of hours worked is going to stay the same, it's just gonna be split between two people. It gives us a couple of advantages. One, there is a big backlog, particularly the fire alarms. This allows us to focus somebody's attention on that and get that up to speed as quickly as possible. It also gives us backup. If the primary person doesn't work out, we've got somebody who's already trained up and can slide into the role and has already expressed an interest in that role. But by hiring two people, we are not creating a situation where we're spending more on salaries. Because they're not gonna duplicate work, they're gonna split work.
And they're only gonna work when we have work for them to do. It's not like a full-time position where, you know, they're gonna just go sit in there for 10 hours even if.
And play Tetris.
Right. It's just to get work caught up. And again, if you remember, I've been telling folks for a long time, I approached you when you were replacing the admin at the police department. Because I've had probably 20 different admin people at the fire department, because it is a part-time job and we can't keep anybody there. And it's killing me. And I didn't kill myself for all those years to kill myself here. So,
Are either of them firefighters?
yes.
They're both.
One of them is,
One
the
is.
other one is really, is
Kim,
kin to a firefighter.
Okay,
So,
Okay.
and the
Right.
references were checked and
and
excellent.
I mean, the other issue too is anybody we've ever hired it's it's not been a good fit, and then for a long time it's fallen back on Jeanette, hey Jeanette, one more thing for you to do. In your spare time, come to the officers meetings, and we all know that, and I felt really bad because Jeanette was always there for us, and that's why I thought this two-person, maybe one person will find they don't like it, and then we do have a backup. And again, people, can't afford to live on a part-time salary, but both these people have full-time jobs, so that's why I thought it was a good fit. And it's not like there has to be office hours, you might require somebody to be in the office for certain days and times, we don't really need that, we can play with it a little bit.
other questions? No. Does somebody want to make a motion? I think we should do them separately.
Okay, am I okay to make the motion?
So, can I just ask one more question?
Yes.
Are you still doing stuff for the fire department through there?
This was basically what I ended up doing, was doing.
So you're still working for the? fire
I'm
department?
I'm technically hired. I have not, there's been a lot of missed connections with trying to get the training to do some of the stuff that I needed to do.
Have we paid you for fire department work?
No.
And I have no problem with you making.
so-
the motion.
Okay.
Yeah,
So I
that's,
have made-
I'm just
I have
asking,
made
because we were
zero
gonna have her work.
Right.
So
but she
she's
couldn't
not
have
working,
deferred.
you're not working hours too in this
Right.
admin.
That's correct.
Okay. Just wanna make sure we don't have three.
No,
Okay.
I'll resign.
Joe, I promise you, I'll never have 3 admin people.
And please we keep it the hours.
But it rains, it's just.
All right, so I make a motion that we hire Eric St. Dennis as the permanent part-time fire department admin at a rate of $18 per hour. The anticipated hours per month initially will be up to 20 and between 5 and 10 going forward, once the backlog has been addressed.
Second.
Any comments? All in favor?
Aye. I make a motion that we hire Kyla Plath as the temporary part-time fire department admin at a rate of $18 per hour. Her work schedule will be as needed to address the backlog. Once the backlog is addressed, her services will no longer be required.
Second.
Anything else? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, good job.
Oh,
Hopefully they'll work out.
Sarah, I appreciate it.
Of course.
And
And-
the only other item is I just want to let you know is, our engine 2, I call it the rollover Mac.
Mhm.
Is, really getting old and it's getting harder to find parts, so we refurbished it when it first came on. So it is time to say goodbye to her. I feel really sad. So we did put together a spec sheet, to replace that truck. It's gonna be the last standard truck the fire department has, so it's, it has caused some issues because not everybody can drive the square gear and that. And all my good drivers have pretty much left, so I've only got a few. So we are looking for a new, supply truck, which would be a single axle, a lot of hose, portable pumps, a larger, a 1,500 gallon and a pump. So I did send me the spec sheet. We did review it with a few people, so I'm gonna try to send it out this week. I just wanna let you folks know, usually we don't approve them, but
Yeah, I was like, what do I know about this stuff? I'm reading every little piece of apparatus on this. I'm like, wow.
I think he just wants us to know how hard it is.
It's.
No, I
Did
don't.
you guys, did you build this yourselves or take some?
It's kind of the spec for the current engine 1 we have,
Okay,
where we made some changes and there's some, updates. NFPA every now and then updates their rules. One of the things is, the chevron on the back, the
Mhm.
mountain stripes. Those you never used to have, and then you used to have like a third of the back of it, and now we've got that at all. And the side stripes aren't just something that, they put on because they look good, they're required by the PA. We are gonna go for commercial chassis, as I said to you folks in the past, going way back when I started, engine 1, I will replace that every 20 years. Because that is our main truck, and the one that gets the most usage. These other trucks, I don't mind pushing them out. The problem is like the ladder truck this year is spent $15,000 on tires because the truck is 21 years old. And even though the tires have really good tread, they're just, they can't be inspected. It's kind of pushing it, so it never happened. Because the tires aren't supposed to be on, 10 years, 8 years, 8. So we really got our money's worth out of those tires.
well, I was really impressed that you built this whole spec sheet. I was like, wow, this is.
Well, this was like, it was in 1 spec sheet and then we just modified it.
I get it now.
We were looking, there was some discussion, they wanted a custom cab and a 4-man cab, but we don't have that many people. And again, the attack truck and the ladder truck, it makes sense to have a quad cab. It doesn't on a supply truck. We did find out though in this process, we're probably gonna be very tight on money. And we did, that's why I came before back in budgeting time to increase some of the engines' future replacement costs. I guess everything's taken pretty big, well,
Takes a long time and it's costing more money.
I paid 65,000 for the truck he's buying a few years ago, and now it's up to 75.
Yeah. Okay, Dan,
I like the part of the foot pedal control on the passenger side of the cab for the air-hold.
Yeah,
It's like every detail you could possibly get to.
well, that, and again, that's kind of a boilerplate thing that you have, and you can go online and get some MPA specs. Because like air horns can't be up on the cab anymore because they would, you know, affect the driver, so that's why they're in the bumpers now versus, you know, everybody likes them on top of the cab, and there's a lot of things like that with siren and seating, but yeah, it is so wait, you see a lot of trucks backing up and it's,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, we're gonna move to economic new business. Yes, the well test. How can I forget? Beautiful. So we had 3 bids and did everybody look at the summary KAS did?
Yeah,
And of course, KAS can approve, but the state's gonna say, okay. So KAS suggested that we go with the Hoffer bid, which is not to exceed $30,000. And so that's where we're kind of at. Again, this won't be signed and sealed because the state has the final okay on it.
So I make a motion that we accept the bid from Hopper Consulting, Inc. in the amount of $28,258, not to exceed $30,000, subject to state approval.
Second. Well,
Discussion? Yes, Jeanette?
We will have to, before this goes to the state, we'll have to sign a contract with that firm.
Yeah, and I'm kind of confused about the direct billing options and things like that, so I guess.
As far as for the
Yeah,
testing. for
yeah,
Endyne.
yeah.
and Cushing. Yeah,
If that
right-
really
right
saves
now,
us.
Endyne, they bill us directly now.
Yeah.
For testing, so.
Yeah. Sarah?
Is it standard to sign a contract that, I mean, they know we can be told we can't fulfill the contract, is that gonna create any issues, or is this pretty standard stuff in this industry?
I don't know why the state. Well.
So, did KAS told us we had to sign a contract? I missed that piece. Before they can submit it to the state. So then the state turns it down and we have to pay this contract and then hire the other people? We must have a way to get at,
I would presume so. I know that was one of, because I asked him what the process was once we've chosen a proposal.
Yeah, I don't believe that if the state somehow, and these guys are registered and, you know, they do work.
No.
They're all gonna use, all of them were gonna use Cushing as their,
Unless we can amend the contract to say subject to state approval.
Right, I was gonna say maybe there's like a waiver or something. If
we
state
definitely
does
wanna,
not,
can you ask that when you talk to them again or email them?
All you have to do is
So-
add subject to state approval, and then
Right.
that covers everything.
Right,
so one of the interesting things is we're renting a generator and a pump. And we're eventually gonna need to use that, well, no matter what, correct? Why aren't we running
Well-
like a conduit line down there, just so they don't have to run it? Most these are like the things we're spending redundant money over money on this thing is just.
they probably have exactly the equipment they need to do this type of testing.
No, it's not, I'm talking about just the power, we're renting a generator.
Right,
So if we're gonna eventually need to use that well, one way or the other, unless for some reason.
Unless it fails the test.
Yeah, it fails, we're still like, but like,
If it fails the test, we aren't using it.
let's not. No, it's, so if we fail this test, what it is, I think, believe it or not, I think is we're gonna need to have storage for water, because we don't have enough water. Is what's gonna happen.
Yes, that's the next.
So
And that's
no matter
very
what,
problematic.
That's the
right,
next
but
thing.
that's the next thing that we'll have to encounter. But nevertheless, we will still need power at the well pump. That's what I'm trying to come across right now.
So you're suggesting
I'm
we,
not suggesting anything. I'm just like, no, like this whole process, there's like no. I'm not saying anything. Jeanette's doing a great job, just like all the different added, we just keep spending and then we're gonna spend again.
Mhm.
Type thing where it's just.
Sarah,
Well, and I hear you, but if putting in the conduit means digging, they're talking about beginning the work 1 to 2 weeks after we sign the contracts and finishing within 8 to 12.
Get that.
I don't know how you dig for a conduit until May.
I hear your frustration, Joe. I can relate.
So my frustration
I
is,
hear.
how far is it from the building to the?
It's,
Well,
I
it-
thought it was over 250 feet.
it's a long way.
That was like almost 5. It's quite a ways.
It's, yeah,
It's
it
a long
is.
ways, but
And you
it's
don't know what
got
you're gonna
library,
encounter.
condition of Library,
Yeah,
ran all the way down through, almost across from.
through the
Christie
woods, yes.
It's a long ways, through the woods.
it would,
Yeah.
it would,
There's no
if I just stood here and
Yeah.
just kept saying, okay, let's spend more money, then I would not be doing it.
Well, I have a question.
Yeah, well,
That's why I
Jeanette
bring
had
up-
something and then Dan.
So I'm just reading from Stephen's email when I asked him what the process was after selecting. He said, after the board selects a preferred consultant and gets a contract completed, I would think the next step would be to see if there are still any grant funds available for this work. It would also make sense to have the selected consultant begin working on a source testing plan so that it can be reviewed and approved by the state, possibly before the spring.
Okay, and you'd like to hear the word grants. Mhm.
And I mean, and we do still have ARPA money.
I'd love to not have to use it,
I know.
but, it does seem like grants ought to be available for this, considering it does serve as, a daycare, which is, and more, but, all right. So 30,000 is the least expensive quote, so should we go forward with that?
Yeah, question.
Yes, Dan.
After this is all done, what requirements do we have for testing? We were into the 150,000 already. Do they just come and test it again and?
We're gonna be testing that well forever, because it serves a childcare. So we are not gonna be without testing fees.
Don't we have to have the water tested here?
Here?
Yeah.
Town hall and.
Okay, thank you.
So.
All right,
Yeah.
and Jeanette, if you would check on that, if we sign subject to state approval, that would be reassuring for us. So did you make a motion, Sarah?
I did.
Okay, somebody second it?
Second,
Any other discussion on this favorite topic we have? All in favor? Aye. Okay.
Sorry.
Now thanks for waiting around for us, Eric. We have economic development. We have the event sponsorship program for Farm Road Estates.
Okay, so in looking at what I sent to you guys, I just realized I sent you the budget for the concert twice. And not for the concert and for the 5K. It's two separate budgets, but for one weekend event. So the budget for the concert is the $6,750 as is displayed in what I sent to you. The budget for the so that represents that $6,750 represents our portion of helping them with a total bill of $37,420 for the event over the weekend. And then the 5K budget, the total event budget is $5,125 with a request for $1,575. So we're looking at a total there of $8,325 for the event, for the weekend event. So the Rotary event, they're obviously going to try to get as many people to sign up as possible, make as much money as possible, and then any proceeds that come out of that will be donated this year to the Rotary and in subsequent years to other nonprofits around the valley. Hope, that was the idea. So we are absolutely in support of this event. I think it's we haven't really spent a lot of the event money recently, and this is an event that I can see growing. So it's something that we support and would like to see funded.
And the whole event is now, it's moving to the 4th of July weekend.
Correct.
Anybody questions? Sarah?
How are you progressing on the road access for the 5K?
So I haven't been diving in too much, just because it's not normally our place to plan or facilitate the events, as it is to provide this program to them and make sure that they have access to all the information they need. So that being said, I had a conversation with Travis, who gave me a name at AOT to contact. And I also had a conversation with Chief Arbogast, who gave me another name to contact. And I passed both of those on to one of the coordinators, Eileen Winters. And she's been working on that piece of it. I have had conversations with Mike about, if it's not possible to shut down Route 100 for a little bit on that particular weekend, that we could, there's plenty of Valley Trail that we could figure something out, for this event to make that. I think it's 3.84 miles that they need. So it's just a little bit beyond, kind of the intersection of Crosstown up to Dot's parking lot. So realistically, I think, there's things that can be done to make that happen. And I told them that, to kind of take that ball and run with it, and anything they needed assistance from me on in terms of, kind of buckling down on the state side, I would help with. But I'm trying not to, again, we don't plan and facilitate the events. We just kind of get them the funding for them.
I asked that badly.
So, is there any way that we can just fund these separately, just in case this 5K doesn't happen for some reason? You know what I mean? So that they're separate events, so if the concert, they've got a track record now, it's gonna happen. If the 5K just falls apart and can't happen, then
We just do it as 2 separate motions.
is that okay, Eric, with you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think,
Okay.
I think just like any other event that we run, or would not run, but pay for, if we gave money for an event that didn't happen, then they know that they're responsible for returning those funds for the event that didn't happen. So, as far as this goes, they're pretty switched on, and they've been involved in races and planning races and things like that. So I don't see that being an issue, but I absolutely understand. So yeah, if we wanted to do separate approvals for the concert and for the 5K, that's completely understandable.
Other questions? Somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve expenditure of $6,750 for the 4th of July concert at Farm Road Estate.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Does anybody have a problem? I'm a member of Road who's sponsoring this event. Should somebody else be making that motion?
Somebody else want to make a motion for the 5K?
I'd like to make a motion. I don't have the amount.
1575, yes.
It's not here in the document.
No,
$1,575.
$1,575.
I'd like to make a motion for the 5K race at $1,575 paid out to
Well, it would be going to Farm Road Estate.
Farm Road.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I'm going to abstain.
Okay. All
Excellent.
right,
Thank you all.
next is the possible adoption of the signage program in Dover. And
So at the last meeting, Tim came to you guys with his presentation on the standardized signage for the town. It's something that we're looking, to move forward with, and as we get new signs and things. I know that it seemed like there was a pretty positive reaction to the presentation and moving forward with that in mind. I think what we're looking for now is for an actual adoption, so that much like the agreement with the church, after all of us are dead and gone, that's something that's, in place, and doesn't get changed as soon as any of us leave our particular seat. So we're just looking for an adoption of this standard that Tim presented. He got the one sheet together for you guys, and we're looking to adopt.
Well, I personally mentioned this to you. I would like to have a dark green. So could we approve this and then add another color? Because I think that making it this green is very light.
It looks like
And
it's
it
already
fades easily. And I think a dark green on top of the white and the black would be a nice option.
Okay.
So,
I have a question.
yes, but that's my comments.
First of all, they're giving you RGB colors, which is only for video. It has to be CMYK, and there should be a Pantone color, so anybody who prints this can print it right. As you look at the screen here, it's darker than the printing.
Well, they do have the CMYK numbers here.
And the hex.
That I got.
So this is what he attached, and so with the CMYK, RGB, everything is right
There
there.
should be a Pantone.
They have the CMYK though,
Yeah, that's all, you just plug those numbers in and that's the color you get.
right,
So,
so I would make a motion that we approve the sign ordinance guideline, the signage guidelines. Subject to the addition of a darker green. Which will be determined at a later date.
Okay, so if we're gonna, if we want to do that, sorry, can I speak?
no, go,
Okay, sorry.
talk.
If we're gonna do that, do you want me to get that green from Tim added to this sheet, and I'll bring it back to you next meeting?
Sure, then we don't have to do this twice.
Right.
A nice
Yeah,
dark green, not one that looks so black, but a good signage color green, because honestly, you're really hamstrung by these colors here.
Understood. Understood.
Green that's on the one at the library is pretty.
Sarah's suggesting maybe a green similar to the one at the Dover Free Library.
Okay,
It's dark, but not so dark that it looks black, right?
I'll get that to Tim. We'll come back with a new one sheet with an added color to it. We have a few
Okay.
things to talk to you about. Oh, Tim.
Is that Tim?
I'm here. I'm just letting you drive because I'm driving a cat, but I got it. I'll work on a green for you guys.
Thanks.
Thank you, Tim.
I just don't love this green as a signage color necessarily. It's in our logo, it's fine, but for wording, it's too pale.
To me, it looks like it's already faded the day it's painted. And then it just gets more faded over time. So as a background color, it just kind of washes out really fast.
Totally fair. We'll find a nice green that'll complement that one, so it'll look good with the logo.
Thank you. Great.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you, Eric. Anything else?
Like the green too, though.
That's kind of what's at Dover Free as well. Yeah.
No, we'll be back in 2 weeks with some more things for you. So,
Thank you.
yep, thanks.
All right, we're gonna need to go into the Board of Liquor Control.
To make a motion to go into the Board of Liquor Control.
Second.
We have any all in favor? Aye.
The two of them, so.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. We have a first-class license for Southern Vermont Hospitality LLC, the last chair, Pizza and Grill, formerly Tuscanella.
I make a motion that we approve the first class license for Southern Vermont Hospitality LLC, DBA Last Year Pizza and Grill.
Second.
What Tuscanella is.
Are we all good? All in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to come out.
I make a motion, we come out of the Board of Liquor Control.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have the consent agenda. We have minutes from January 16th and January 24th, and on January 16th, Everybody was here, and on January 24th, it was only 3 people, I believe.
Sarah, yourself, and Joe.
Okay, so we need to separate these two.
Okay, so I make a motion to approve the minutes of January 16th, 2024.
Second.
Any changes or corrections? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion that we approve the minutes of January 24th, 2024.
Second.
You weren't
It
there.
has to be Joe.
Second.
Any changes on that very brief meeting? I think it was like 3 minutes.
Yeah. we blocked it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make,
Okay.
make a motion to approve the warrants of January 20th for $222,016.62. And February 3rd warrants for $265,853.35.
Second.
Any comments on the warrants? All in favor? Aye. We have FYIs, town meeting Zoom trainings on the 7th at vlct.org/events.
I signed up for that, Andy signed up for it, and Rich Warner signed up for it.
We've got the town covered on that.
Yes, we do.
Planning Commission meets on February 12th at 6:30 PM. The Trails and Rec Committee meets February 13th at 6:30 PM. Pre-town meeting, everybody get on their schedule, Tuesday, the 27th at 6 PM, Dover Town Hall. And town meeting, March 5th at 10 AM at Dover Town Hall. And then organizational meeting, March 6th at Dover Town offices.
Ah,
No. So it's a busy couple of weeks. Everybody eat their Wheaties. Liaison reports. I hear nothing. Executive session. I hear nothing. Great. Let's adjourn this meeting at 7:37.
So Mike,